to thank you for tuning into our video about health perspectives in the Hmong community presented by Hmong Youth and Parents United. My name is Kathleen Bang and I will be your host today. First and foremost, we would like to thank our partners, Sierra Health Foundation, Dignity Health, EOMAN Community Services, and Hmong Nurses Association. So let's get moving along. Here with me today, I have Mercy Yang from Hmong Nurses Association, who is the president of the Sacramento chapter, and Tassie Yang from the Shaman Memoirs.
Thank you. So I'm Tassie Yang from Shaman Memoirs. I have a YouTube channel really going over my personal experience from when I was a child to when I went through the whole shaman ordeal and everything that it entailed from, dark memories to good memories and where I am at today. So I'm hoping that through my experiences and stories, it can help bridge the new and old generation together.
Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, my name is Mercy Yang. I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for about 5 years. I am currently working with vaccines, specifically the COVID-19 and the flu vaccines. I am also the current local Sacramento chapter for Hmong Nurses Association. Through our organizations, we really are just about giving back to the community and also at the same time being able to provide a space for our Hmong nurses, our nursing students to always network and connect and to share our experiences. We are always looking to give back to the community, whether that just be through collaborating with also Haipu with other organizations, but that is what we really gear towards, just helping the community as well as networking with Hmong nurses together.
Thank you, Mercy. We are so greatly appreciated to have you guys here today with me. A little bit of the topic today, we're talking about holistic healing along with Western medicine and Eastern practices. And so, Mercy, can you tell us a little bit about the differences between Eastern and Western medicine and maybe like different types of practices for those who don't know?
So the difference between Eastern, medicine and Western. Eastern, you're relying a lot of like herbal medicine, type of style practices that are kind of like passed down from generation to generation and stuff. In comparison to Western, that's where you're seeking medical professionals to, deal with whatever kind of health situations that you're dealing with. That's like taking medications, going to the doctors. Those are kind of like some of the difference between Eastern and Western medication.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's really interesting, especially in the Hmong community. Some of the things that we do practice is shamanism. And Tassie, can you give us a little bit of background on shamanism and what is it for those who don't know?
I'm going to speak directly for Hmong shamanism,
Yeah.
Because there's so many different types of shamanism across the world. And for Hmong shamanism, we definitely believe about your spirit. It's more of a spiritual well-being. A lot of your bodily pains could be due to spiritual reasons. So with shamanism, it can range anything from protective measures, such as blessing individuals, tying strings on them, to calling their spirit back after traumatic incidences, to looking into bad nightmares, dreams, seeing things that shouldn't be there, anything that's really bothering you, including illnesses.
Thank you for that. I really wanted to talk about that because I also wanted to hear from Mercy's perspective, right? As someone who is both Hmong and in the medical field as a registered nurse who works with vaccines and those kind of things. What is your take on the Hmong community seeking health solutions through holistic healing?
So I feel that we are definitely in an environment where you can seek out both. Whether it is, healing through shamanism or Eastern medicine or medical, or Western medicine, going to the doctors and stuff. I mean, each depending on what it is, you just as an individual for your overall well-being, like you really need to take a look at, your physical state, your mental state, and your emotional state. It's a balance of all those three that you always kind of need to maintain so that you can overall feel like you're in a healthy state of mind. And so regardless of which one it is and stuff, it's okay to seek out like shamanism or other Eastern medicine. It's okay, maybe something that you need to go to the doctor and seek out Western medicine. Really, you just as an individual assess and balance out all of those three is important to really maintaining your well-being.
So that brings me to my next question. So I know we recently had our Shaman Seminar where Tassie actually spoke and talked about a lot of great things. So you talked about some topics relating to mental health, holistic healing, and personal well-being. In a summary, how does shamanism play a role in these topics for the Hmong community?
So definitely I would have to say that it impacts the Hmong community mostly because of our generational upbringing. With our older generations who have definitely raised us, this was very prevalent in our lives. Obviously, now we have a lot of people who are transitioning to different religious beliefs. Some are just not being active at all for religious beliefs. However, I found that with shamanism in the Hmong community, a lot of times when they are very desperate for help, whether they've gone to the doctors and they can't find any solution, they still have the pains and issues. That is how I feel like shamanism is still breathing and so alive in our community, especially when it is the mental health part, because now a lot of our shamans have evolved over time, so especially like with abilities, and there's a lot more help with the psychological side where they're more clairvoyant and they can help answer questions where you get more of a mental well-being. So I feel like a lot of times shamanism, not only is it to heal people for physical ailments, it is the mental ailments as well that people have.
Thank you, Tassie. So my next question is that, a lot of the seniors in our Hmong community, going to the doctor plays such like a big thing, right? Because I know my parents they're very similar to that. So, after seeking, multiple shamans, when do you recommend, or, having those clients, when do you recommend them to seek out Western medicine?
For myself, I did mention in the seminar about usually what shamans do is they barter deals. And if your pain or your ailment hasn't gone away and you've gone to see at least, I want to say max 3. You should not be going over more than 3 shamans in general. But usually that is when I definitely recommend that they seek out a doctor. And if I had a client come to me and ask me, the first thing I would assume or ask is if they've gone to the doctors, because me being a newer generation, I definitely believe and follow, Western medicine, and I have faith in it too. And so, but I do understand the generational differences for our elders, where they have a fear. They don't understand it. They have an assumption that it's going to make it worse. Now they're going to need to be on these medications for the rest of their life. It's expensive. So a lot of things play into them unwilling to go to the doctors. And in the past, they may have heard stories that if you go to a shaman, they healed me, and it's a similar ailment that they have. And so I definitely always push as a shaman. I feel like it's my duty too, to ensure that they've gone to see a doctor, and I will try my best. However, if this doesn't work, I'm going to, again, usher that they go to the doctors.
Thank you. I think my next question is for Mercy, because I know, like, for example, in my experience, it was just with my parents, right? They're on the much older side, and, they've gone and they're going through, like, surgery. So, for example, my dad had just recently gone through heart surgery, and do you feel like, these oneng or Yang, right? Do you feel like, in your experience, does it give your patients more of a clearer mind to go into surgery and just feeling more ready?
So definitely incorporating that into, your care is very important because, like I said earlier, it's a balance between the physical, the emotional, and the, spiritual side. Being able to address all of those before going into surgery definitely helps, someone who's a little bit wary about it to feel more comfortable with it and stuff. And I know that a lot of places have been able to incorporate some of those kind of like practices into the hospital settings. There are some who will allow, a shaman to come in and do kind of like a ritual or blessing before someone goes into a surgery and stuff. So, really just based on who you are and, how you want to address your care, your health care and stuff, you can definitely incorporate those things to make yourself feel more comfortable going into a surgery. I know that a lot of older, generation of our generation that we do see that they are a little bit wary, and we have learned that it is through word of mouth from other people that people will kind of sometimes make their healthcare decisions on that and stuff. If they hear that, oh, this root or this herb, help them with this, they're gonna go and take it and try it, right? Even though we also know from a healthcare perspective that maybe whatever they're taking may or may not work and stuff, it's always through word of mouth our community have learned to rely on and to try things and stuff. And so even, I have someone who was going into surgery, and it's through word of mouth, who has had experience of going through that surgery, whether it's a good one or a bad one, so they still want to hear it because that will influence what their decisions may be and stuff. And so really seeking all those to help you make that decision or to kind of just take care of yourself is very important. It doesn't have to be either or none at all. It can be all of it.
Thank you for sharing that, Mercy. So we're moving towards the end of the interview. Do you guys have any comments or just suggestions you guys would like to say?
So I think, Tassie, earlier in your session, you talked about pain. And so whenever you're experiencing any type of pain and that doesn't go away, go seek a medical professional and stuff. Pain, the body is telling you, hey, something's not right here, go seek it out. Another thing also is, like I said, other of those three things, being physically healthy, mental, spiritually, all plays a part in how you can care for yourself. I know that a lot of the generation, today I saw a lot of young folks here and stuff. And, a key takeaway, when we're so young is to incorporate healthy behaviors into our lives and also taking the preventive measures to, take care of ourselves versus much, much later when, it's a little bit harder. We definitely see a lot of chronic illnesses in our community, and a lot of those diabetes, high blood pressure, these are all things that can be preventable. And it's really just about making those lifestyle changes or behaviors that are really in the long term is going to benefit us very much.
I think what I want to close this off with is really addressing that exactly what Mercy had mentioned. There were a lot of youth that attended the seminar. And I think that the reason why I attract so many of them is because what the younger generation is now struggling with it is their identity, right? Their cultural identity. Where do they fit into this? They have expectations of, living an American dream, being successful, and yet they have all these things that you hear about growing up that ties back to our culture, our roots, and they're really just trying to figure out where are they in this position, right? So a lot of my videos, my messages is meant to let people know that they're not the only one. A lot of people struggle with this, even people in my generation, especially when they feel that they need to be married to a Hmong family or married into this and that, because they put these expectations on themselves due to, it could be due to older generations and their expectations and the way they were raised. And so for me, especially for younger generation shamans who are up and coming, learning to accept yourself the way you are, regardless if you're not the expectation that other people have for you, especially when you hear so many naysayers or people who have opinions about how shamans should be. This is, that's not what shamans do. That's not, I feel like that all goes into shamanism evolving with the newer generation. And this is what it's going to be. And a lot of people are trying to deny and fight this, but you can't. They are going to be our future. And so it's important for people to know that to accept themselves and that the way they are, it is enough. And once they build that confidence, they will be able to just soar. So I think that's really important in my messages.
Thank you, Tassie. Thank you, Mercy, as well. We really appreciate you guys coming here and being able to share different perspective on, especially the Hmong perspectives of health, because it's such, it's very broad, and I feel like it's always here and there for, our community members, and so I really appreciate you guys coming here today and speaking about it.
Thank you for having us. As we're looking away.